Welcome knitters! Today I'm sharing with you 18 beautiful sock knitting patterns that you'll love making. Whether you're just starting out or have been knitting socks for years, I have a pattern for you. So let's dive in and find your next favorite. Hi everyone, welcome back to Knitting by the Bay. My name is Christy, and in this episode we'll be diving into a collection of 18 beautiful sock knitting patterns. Whether you're a beginner looking for a simple project or an experienced knitter wanting to try something new, this roundup has something for everyone. We'll cover a variety of styles from quick and cozy ankle socks to more intricate lace and cable designs. There are patterns for different yarn weights, fingering, sport, DK, and instructions for multiple sizes, so you can find the perfect fit. If you're new to sock knitting, don't worry. Several of these patterns are straightforward techniques like ribbing and short row heels, making them perfect for learning the basics. And for those looking to challenge themselves, there are options featuring cables, lace, and textured stitch patterns that add elegance and complexity without overwhelming you. As usual, I'll share links to all these patterns in the description so you can explore them in detail after the video. I would also love to gift one of my viewers a pattern, so drop your favorite sock pattern either from today's roundup or your own go-to pattern in the comments below, and you'll automatically be entered to win your favorite sock pattern. I've organized today's patterns into 3 different categories. So we have colorwork, we have texture, and then we have DK weight socks. So let's step into sock knitting. All right, so the first pattern on my list is called Foggle. That also means bird, and it's the perfect name for these socks. These are a fingering weight sock, and the pattern is by Anna Bergman. They are knit on a US 2.5 millimeter needle. And these are a pair of cuff down socks with a short row heel and some color work. And the pattern also gives you instructions on how to make this other pair, the orange pair. So I'll be showing pictures of both different styles. So I absolutely love these socks because I love anything with birds on it. If it has birds on it, I want to make it. And I love the first version of the socks where the bird's motif is only on the leg of the sock and then you have stripes on the foot. I think that is super cute. I would definitely want to make it in the same exact colorway. Okay, so pattern number 2 is called Luke. This is a pattern by Rebecca Mauser, and it is knit with a light fingering weight yarn on US 1 or 2.25 millimeter needles. This sock is made using a special method that makes it completely seamless. So there's a very interesting construction to this. You start by using a provisional cast on to begin knitting the back of the leg, and this type of cast on lets you knit in both directions later without needing to pick up stitches. And then the back of the leg is knitted in stripes until you reach the heel. The heel is made using a flap and short rows to shape it. Then next you knit the bottom of the foot, the sole, and then back and forth in rows, still in stripes. And then at the same time, you shape the gusset by decreasing stitches. You also add a special edge stitch called a selvage stitch to help join the sock parts later. The toe is shaped with short rows and shadow wraps, which helps to avoid holes. Then you knit the top of the foot going up toward the leg. As you knit each row, you join it to the bottom part of the sock by knitting it together with edge stitch. This way the sock comes together as you go. And then once the two parts are fully joined, you go back to the held stitches from the start and knit the cuff in the round. The cuff is folded and finished with a pretty edge, which I think is a picot edge. Let's see, yes, it's a really cute picot edge on those. The pattern is designed so you can make mismatched socks from using 3 small balls of yarn, but you can also make them matching if you want to. And what I like about this sock is I love the stripes and the heel color. I think it's really cute, and I also love a picot cuff. And I think if you're up for a totally different and possibly more challenging sock pattern, then this is the pattern for you. I would probably just use a basic sock pattern though for myself and just copy the stripes and the coloring. I really like how those stripes are just on the back of the leg and then on the sole of the foot. I think that's really cute. And I really like the teal and green and white color. I would definitely want to make ones just like that. All right, pattern number 3. I'm not even going to try and pronounce because there's no way I'm going to get this right. So everything is going up on the screen anyway. This is a beautiful pattern by Ducati, and it's a fingering weight knit using US 1 or 2.25 millimeter needles. Actually, sorry, that would be, I believe, for the cuff, and then or the plain stockinette, and then the color work would be done with the 2.75 millimeter needle. And this is a beautiful all over colorwork sock with an adorable little gnome hidden on the heel, which is constructed, like the heel is constructed with a heel flap and gusset. And this colorwork is absolutely beautiful and so charming. And there don't appear to be any long floats involved with this. So I think that that would make it a little bit easier to do the all over colorwork. And then on the heel, you get this super cute little gnome just like hiding out on the heel. And I love this one sample here that has just the hat of the gnome is red. I think that's really adorable. Okay, pattern number 4 is the fairy ring socks. And this is a lovely pattern by Katie Green. It's a, let's see, fingering weight sock knit on US 1 or 2.25 millimeter needles. And these socks are knit cuff down with a heel flap and gusset, and they come in sizes from children to adults. So you could make them for the whole family if you wanted to. I love the color scheme of these socks so much. I would probably knit them exactly the same that they have in the sample photo. And if you look closely at the sample pictures, you'll see that there's polka dots in the foot of the sock, which you can't really tell from just first glance. But if you look closely at it, you'll see that there's actually polka dots in that, or like, I think it's called a flea stitch. And I think that's really cute. And then also there's some more color work just before you begin shaping for the, or making the toe of it. Yeah, and shaping for the toe. There's like a line of cute little houses there. And I think that's absolutely adorable. All right, pattern number 5 is the Be Creative socks. So this pattern is, the designer says, oh, I should say, the designer is again Ducati. It's a fingering weight sock knit on US 2.75 millimeter needles. And the designer says that this pattern is a modular knit containing 6 different charts. So it says you can let your bees fly up and down, collecting the nectar of flowers at the front or back side of the sock, or just knit a pristine flower meadow with no bees on it. The color work on these socks is absolutely stunning. And I love that the charts are modular, meaning that you can mix and match. You can make whatever kind of pattern that you want with your socks. And I really like how the bottom of the foot also has a different pattern to it. And the little bee, again, close to the heel there. All right, pattern number 6 is called Spring Frost. This is a pattern by Sasky & Company. It's a light fingering weight sock knit on US 1 or 2.25 millimeter needles. And these socks are knit top down in the round, featuring a stranded colorwork motif throughout. The heels are knitted using the afterthought heel technique, which I've never tried before, so that would be interesting to learn. And you can choose to mismatch your socks as shown. That has 2 different colorways, which would, you'd be able to use less yarn of each color because you have 2 different colors. And yeah, you could do it mismatched like in these photos, or you can knit 2 identical socks. And it also includes sizes for children, teens, and adults. And what I like about this pattern is I love this mostly Fair Isle pattern that it has, a colorwork pattern. I do, like when I zoomed in, I do see a few rows that have 3 different colors. So Fair Isle is supposed to only have 2 different colors per row. But there are a few different rows that have 3 colors. But I think it would be a lot of fun. Anyway, you just have few of those rows are where you have to hold 3 different strands. All right, pattern number 7 is called the Color Palette Socks. This is a pattern by Laura Moratz, and it's a light fingering weight sock knit on US 1.5 or 2.5 millimeter needles. These cute striped socks are knit cuff down with a heel flap and gusset construction. And I love the thickness of those stripes. I think it's also really unique that in between the different colors of stripes, it has about 2 rows of ribbing. And I think that's really different. I haven't seen that before. And I think it would be a really great pattern to use up your different scraps or like minis, color minis, or whatever you have just hanging around. All right, pattern number 8 is the fletching socks. This is a pattern by Jessica McDonald. It's a sport weight knit using US 2 or 2.75 millimeter needles. And this sock is knit from the top down with a heel flap and gusset. These socks I think would be a great choice for a first time beginner colorwork sock knitter because there's only 2 different colors in it, and you're only doing the color work on the leg of the sock. And as well, there isn't any long floats in between the different colors. So I think it would be a really quick and very enjoyable knit to do, especially for a beginner. Number 9 on the list is the Home Sweet Socks. This is a beautiful pattern by Alicia Plummer. It is a fingering weight sock knit on US 1.5 or 2.5 millimeter needles. And this is a cuff down, heel flap, and gusset construction sock. And what I love about this pattern is that beautiful color work on it with the pretty vines or the leaf pattern, and then these cute little hearts in between. I think it's so sweet. I actually wanted to knit these socks. I was planning to make them for my sister last Christmas, and then I ran out of time. So I'm thinking maybe this Christmas or her birthday, which is just a little bit before Christmas. I think that those would be such a nice gift to make for somebody, and they would be fun because you just have the color work again on the leg of the sock, and then you've got plain stockinette for the rest of the sock. So it'd be a very enjoyable and quick knit, I think. Number 10 on the list is the Midsummer Night sock. This is a pattern by Melody Hoffman. It says a lace plus lace equals lace pattern knit on US 2.5 or 3 millimeter needles. So this is a beautiful color work of these moths in a cozy mohair sock. They're knit with 1 strand of wool and then 1 strand of mohair. And so there's 2 different versions, she says. So you can knit one using Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair, which is a finer mohair, or you can use another one. She did another sample using Drales, Lanes, and Cara, which apparently is a much thicker silk mohair base that creates a roomy and ultra comfy slipper sock. So I really like how warm and cozy these look with that fuzzy looking moth motif. I think they're really pretty. If you made the thicker ones as just some socks to wear around the house, I think they're absolutely adorable. I've just cast on for a new pair of Colorwork socks that I'm super excited about, and I'll share more about that in a future video when I have more progress made on those. But I wanted to be able to knit while I walk, either outside or on the treadmill. So I went looking for a sewing pattern for a Japanese knot bag, and I found this really cute one called Little Knot Bag. This is by the shop Indigo Bird on Etsy. And the designer's name is Dare. She's a textile artist living in Toronto, Canada. And so I went and got some fabric for it. I found some really cute, I'll put it up on the screen, deer fabric. Can't remember the name of it, but anyway, I'll put it up on the screen and I'll link it down below if you're interested in getting some of that. And I ordered that from Thread Count Fabrics, which is a Canadian fabric store. So let's make the bag.
Where did the time go? How do we move so far away? Holding on, how much can we both take when love is an echo? I can't hear
So here is the finished bag. I think it turned out really well. So what you do is the pattern has you do like one shorter handle and one longer handle, and then you take the longer handle and loop it through the short one, and then it just hangs on your wrist. So it's really great for like walking and knitting at the same time. You just have your yarn in there and it comes through the hole at the top. I think it works really well. So this is the medium size. The pattern that I purchased has small, medium, and large. And the small one looked a little too small for me to be able to fit a sock project in it. But now that I've made the medium size, I think I'd really like to make a small version of this one. I think it would be just big enough for one sock project. I have two of them in the bag right now. So yeah, I think the small one would be big enough. So I wanted to share with you my finished lobster socks, or actually the pattern name is the Clawsome Lobster Socks. And this is a pattern by Stone Knits, and it's a fingering weight knit, and I knit mine use 2.25 for the cuff and for the heel and any part that's not color work, and then I use 2.5 millimeter for the color work portion of it. So this is how they turned out. Not perfect, but I think they're okay. And you might notice if you look close enough that the lobsters on this sock have their little eyes stitched on, and these ones do not. So my plan was, I started with this one, and my plan was to do, like, to not use three strands of color for that portion, that row, and just duplicate stitch the eyes on after. Well, that was a big mistake, because do you think I feel like duplicate stitching all of the eyes for all of these lobsters now? No, I don't. And so I probably won't. And anyway, I think on this sock, it's probably an issue with my tension, but you can't see a lot of the eyes unless I were to like go and pull those stitches out so they come forward. Now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't hold that strand in the right hand, and that's why they are not popping to the front, which was definitely my mistake. But anyway, you can't see the eyes on here. I think you can still tell that those are lobsters anyway without the eyes. So yeah, they're definitely not perfect by any means, but I think they're pretty cute. And I will show you a picture of how they look when I wear them with, I had planned to make them to wear with my white Birkenstock, so I'll show you what they look like here. And yeah, so I definitely need to work on my colorwork socks technique, because I had a lot of problem with tension with it. I really had to stretch it out when I was blocking it, because it would squish together in some sections. And yeah, I definitely just need a lot of practice with that. And also I need some of your guys' tips. So if you have any tips on colorwork sock knitting, please drop them in the description down below, because that would be very helpful for me, as well as some of you viewers that also are just getting into colorwork socks. So I used Filcolana Arwetta for these socks. The blue is ice blue, and then the lobsters are Chinese red. And the Chinese red definitely bled out into the blue in some areas on the sock. So that's just something to note about that, the Filcolana Arwetta. I don't know if I think red might bleed a little bit more than some of the other colors. So I also knit these ones using double pointed needles. And I had said on my last episode where when I just started these that I thought that it was looking really good with the double pointed needles and that was going to be my go-to way of knitting socks. Well, I still ended up with the tension issues once I kept going. And actually, I think it was even worse than using the magic loop method. So I think for my next, well, I have already started the next Colorwork socks and I'm doing those magic loop. And I think I'm also going to try knitting those with the Colorwork turned inside out, which is a tip that I got from a viewer on a previous video. So yeah, if you guys have any other tips, please drop them down below. And let's get back to the roundup now. All right, so number 11 on my list is the Cider House Socks. This is a pattern by Summer Lee. It's a fingering weight knit using US 1 or 2.25 millimeter needles. And these are beautiful textured socks. They're worked from the cuff down, and these socks showcase a simple repeating cable motif that is both beginner friendly and engaging for experienced knitters. The design balances texture and ease, she says, incorporating ample plain rounds between cable crosses. So this creates a fabric that is soft, cushioned, and visually appealing while maintaining a relaxed knitting experience with just enough detail to hold interest. And what I like about this pattern is I really love the color combinations that she uses for these sample socks. I think they're so happy and so fun. And I really love this blue tweedy color that she has mixed with the red and white stripe. I think that looks super cute. And I actually just purchased this pattern, so I hopefully will be casting this on. I'm super excited to go shopping for yarn for these ones. Number 12 on my list are the Golden Days socks. This is a pattern by This Handmade Life. It's a fingering weight sock knit on US 1.5 or 2.5 millimeter needles. They feature a delicate flowing lace pattern and are worked as an ankle length sock for a light and airy finish. But she says the pattern is easily adaptable to make a calf length sock if you prefer. They're knit top down with a heel flap and gusset. And what I like about this pattern is she says they were designed for a transition between summer and fall, and they offer a quick and enjoyable knitting experience. I think they're very elegant, but also very practical. And the lace pattern doesn't look too difficult, so I think it would be really fun to knit. Number 13 on my list are the dorsal socks. This is a pattern by Helen Stewart, and it's a fingering weight sock knit on US 1 or 2.25 millimeter needles. These socks have a beautiful feature panel running up the back of the leg that looks sort of like a dolphin or a shark tail. And they have a twisted rib cuff with a heel flap and gusset construction with a wedge toe. And she says they're easily adapted to insert your own favorite finishes. This sock comes in 3 different sizes. And I love that you have this relaxing stockinette stitch for the top and like most of the sock, except for you get that little bit of interest running down the back of the leg. I think it's a perfect sock for summer with this nautical vibe with the shark or the dolphin tail motif. Number 14 on my list are the Hazel Shorties. This is a pattern by Do Coffee again. And these socks are knit top down with a tried and true Lane Socks heel. I'm not sure what that is, but that would be fun to try out. And they are written in 4 different sizes. I love the cuff on these. They look like a really nice pair of store-bought shorty socks with that little, she calls a heel tab on the back of the heel. I think the lacy texture is so pretty, especially for summer, and I can imagine making these socks in many different pastel colors. Number 15 are the Poet socks. This is a pattern by Sari Nordlund. It's a light fingering weight pattern knit on US 1.5 or 2.5 millimeter needles. And these socks use the same lace motif as in her Poet sweater. So you could, if you've knit the Poet sweater, you could knit a pair of matching socks to that. The Poet socks are worked from the cuff down to the toe, beginning with an optional tubular cast on for a flexible, stretchy edge. The heel flaps feature a reinforced stitch pattern for added strength and durability, and they're paired with a classic round French heels for a refined finish, which I haven't tried either. The pattern also includes instructions for adjusting the gusset to achieve a more generous and comfortable fit. And I really love this beautiful lace pattern. I think the lace pattern says it all about these socks. Um, Probably I'm not going to knit these. I'm just going to admire them from afar because I think that's a lot of work to put into a pair of socks to do this in this big intricate lace pattern. But I think if you are going to knit it, it'll be worth it because they're absolutely beautiful. Okay, so let's move into the last category, which is the thick socks. The first pattern on my list are the Oxbow socks. This is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. It's a sport weight sock knit on US 1 or 2.25 millimeter needles. The Oxbow socks are lightweight, ankle length socks featuring a subtle knit and purl texture for a refined, understated design. They're worked from the cuff down. They're constructed using the magic loop method with a classic heel flap and gusset. The pattern offers versatility with instructions for both sport and fingering weight yarns, as well as multiple size options. So this pattern comes in 5 different sizes for a customized fit. And what I like about these socks are they are a basic sock, really, but they have this interesting texture to it, but it's just created using knits and purls. So I think that that would be a pretty easy but still engaging pattern to knit. And I like how she has done a couple of rows of this contrast color at the top of the ribbing for the one colorway of socks there. I think that looks really cool. Number 17 on my list are the Slow Morning DK socks. This is a pattern by Camille Hang. It is a DK weight sock knit on US 2.5 or 3 millimeter needles. And the Slow Morning DK socks are a warm and versatile design, perfect for the cooler months of fall and winter. Work from the cuff down, the pattern features a classic 2x2 rib for a snug, comfortable fit and is finished with a short row heel for a clean, seamless look. With its straightforward construction and minimal shaping, this design is an excellent choice for beginners looking to knit their first pair of socks. And I really like the look of these perfect cozy socks. They look so nice and warm for the fall. So I think if I started knitting some of these now, I'd have them done in time for fall. I wouldn't have to rush through it or anything. And I really love a ribbed sock, and this is a great DK weight version. This pattern is also free, which is awesome. And I think they would look really cute in a pair of wellies for the fall season. All right, number 18 on my list are the Hibernal DK socks. This is a pattern again by Summer Lee. They are a DK weight sock using a US 3 or a 3.25 millimeter needle. So these socks would knit up super quick. They are a thick, squishy textured sock worked cuff down with an easy to memorize mock cable ribbed pattern. They have a heel flap and gusset construction. And what I like about these socks is they look so comfy and warm. And I like the mock cable that's on them, so you don't have to worry about, like, you can do a cable pattern, but you don't have to worry about using a cable needle in such a small circumference. I think they look great with the Birkenstocks that she has in the picture, and I think they're a really great transitional sock to go from summer to fall if you are somebody that likes to wear socks with sandals, which I am. Well, that's our list of 18 beautiful sock patterns. I hope you're able to find something here that sparked your creativity. Remember to comment your favorite down below. I'd love to know what you're casting on first. And you'll automatically be entered to win your favorite pattern. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep on knitting together. And until next time, happy making, everyone.